My name is Raymond Diaz, Cohort 47, SUD 102, week 2 assignment. Using the interactive drug wheel as supporting material, choose a drug that you are unfamiliar with and create an anti-drug awareness presentation. I'm going to be doing the drug MDMA as I don't have too much experience with MDMA. During the process, I did learn that MDMA is consistent of methamphetamine and hallucinogenic. So methamphetamine being the stimulant and the hallucinogenic being a cognitive drug. So that was interesting. Um, so MDMA or 3,4-methylene methamphetamine is a synthetic amphetamine derivative known as a recreational drug since the 1980s by street names like ecstasy, Molly, and ecstasy. The entangenic properties foster euphoria, memory retrieval, and enhance sensory perception. So I'm going to be focusing on the short-term and long-term mental and physical effects of the MDMA. Short-term effects of MDMA: the mental, enhanced well-being, euphoria, confidence, surge of pleasures and happiness, increased being's social, empathy, feel connection, enhanced senses, colors brighter, and music clearer. So a lot of this was a party drug, predominantly being a party drug. There was a rapper in the 90s called Mac Dre that before he started using MDMA, he was into the streets and gangs and drugs and things like that. After he started doing ecstasy, he said that his perceptions changed. He felt better. He felt good. He helped create a following in the Bay Area called Thiz Nation. So Thiz is another term for ecstasy, and his music went from street hardcore to party music, dancing, being happy, and every other song he talked about was about ecstasy and being happy. So this enhances a state of socialization, states of feeling connected with people. There's also studies that say every drug has a form of therapeutic usage. So there's also studies, I'll leave the resources in the end, but studies that saying MDMA at small doses helps people with stress and anxiety. So continuing, the lower inhibitions, confusion, paranoia, and anxiety. Some feel disorientation, panic. Short-term physical would be increased heart rate, blood pressure, cardiovascular problems, heart problems. If you have heart problems, you have to be careful. You could be at a rave dancing and then you go out, right? Increased body temperature, hypothermia, potential organ failure, dehydration, sweating. 'Cause when you're partying and you're in a rave and you're doing these things that you're having fun, you're sweating it out, all the water in your body. You know, that's how people die even when they're in the desert and things like that. The sweat, they're sweating all their stuff out. And they watch these shows, Naked and Afraid and stuff. These people are getting dehydrated, and that's what ultimately makes them tap out because their body. That's how you die faster. The dehydration, the sweating. Short-term physical: jaw clenching, teeth grinding, nausea, vomiting, blurred vision, and sleep disturbances. So when you're out there partying, obviously it's amphetamine. You're gonna be high strung. You're gonna be active, and you're not gonna sleep. You're gonna be blurred vision. You're gonna be partying. You can't see nothing. The disorientation from the hallucinogenics gonna get you. Nausea, vomiting. Sometimes you could overtake in the substance, and you get sick. Long-term effects of MDMA: mental, neurotoxicity, and potential brain damage. Damaged serotonin, long-lasting deficits in memory, cognition, cognitive deficits, problems with memory and attention. Continual use of substance is going to burn out your melatonin and your serotonin in your brain to where you're going to not have enough melatonin and serotonin. You become depressed. You're going to need more of the substance to function and work. Your body overwork itself. More long-term effects on the brain is depression, anxiety, sleep disorder, mental health issues, psychological dependence to the drug. The tolerance develops, craving, dependence. You're gonna need more to get high. Long-term physical would be your kidney and liver damage is the strain on your organs. You know, too much overworking in your body has a natural defense mechanism to push out and work because, you know, this is a foreign substance in your body, and your body's going to overwork itself. So especially the kidneys and the liver, cardiovascular problems, especially if you have already pre-heart issues, you know, it's just going to get worse. Increased heart rate and blood pressure, impaired sexual function, reduced interest in sex. Well, I don't know about that, but some people say that methamphetamines, for some, everybody's different. For methamphetamines, some people say it enhances sexual desire. Some say it didn't. Some people would just J-cat out and, you know, not want to do anything. Chronic exhaustion, muscle aches, fatigue, dental problems. Obviously, the grinding of the teeth is going to become a problem in the future. I have all my teeth, thank God. Some people don't. Some people go 6 months and using the substance and they lose their teeth from grinding. Multiple factors, the dosage and the psychology of the individuals and the people partaking in MDMA. You know, MDMA starts off like any other drug. It starts off as a party drug. It starts off something to have fun with, but eventually it becomes a dependency and something that you are gonna take just on the regular because your body's gonna want more. You're gonna burn out your melatonin in your serotonin and your melatonin in your brain, and you're gonna have to take more of this drug to function normally. The withdrawal symptoms of MDMA is depression, confusion, anxiety, cravings, agitation, paranoia, insomnia, fatigue, and memory problems. The synergistic effects of MDMA with other substances is as follows: MDMA plus alcohol. Synergistic effects: increase euphoria initially, but higher dehydration risk, greater strain on the liver and heart, reduce awareness of intoxication, increased risk of serotonin syndrome and heartbreak. Alcoholic is a depressant, MDMA is a stimulant. The combo can confuse the body's temperature regulation and fluid balance. Synergistic effects of MDMA. Cocaine. Cocaine is also a stimulant. Cocaine blocks dopamine re-up. MDMA floods serotonin and dopamine. Together they cause hyperstimulation of the nervous system, which is not good, people. Not good. Nah. Synergistic effects: intensified stimulation and euphoria, extremely high blood pressure and heart rate, increased neurotoxicity, greater risks of heart attack, stroke, seizures. Let's see, MDMA plus cannabis. Synergistic effects: increased visual and sensory effects, reduce anxiety or paranoia for some, greater confusion, short-term memory issues. THC can moderate serotonin and dopamine effects, sometimes buffering MDMA come down or intensifying sensory. Marijuana was known to, if somebody would be on methamphetamines or certain drug, smoke some weed, and it would definitely bring the high from the major substance down. So, but then it would kind of also combine the two and put you in a euphoric state, which either intensify the high or would just do nothing. Being that the methamphetamine and the MDMA is like would build a wall, and the THC particles couldn't get in, so it wouldn't really do nothing until eventually that high came down and you were able to come in, and it would either intensify or bring down the high for those individuals. Those are just a few of the synergistic effects of MDMA with other substances. Again, so just a little bit back from the beginning. The chemical identity, chemical name 3,4 methylene dioxymethamphetamine. That's a long word. So molecular formula: C11H15NO2, molar mass 193.25 G-mol. Science, baby, science. Physical properties: property description: appearance white to off-white crystalline powder or colorless crystals, pure forms, street forms, varied tablet, capsule, powder, may be colored or contain additives. So from my experience, people had powder, methamphetamine, MDMA powder, pure powder, crystallized or powder form. They have a press. They get the press. They put it on the press and they press it into pill form. we'd have Beamers. They call them. You got the BMWs, or you got the Leprechauns, or they'd come in all kinds of forms. People would press them into many forms, like the vitamins, Flintstone vitamins. They'd have Flintstones. They'd have variety of characters, automobiles, Nike signs, things of that nature. In the era that they was really big at one time, everybody, even gang members, were doing MDMA, but then they were becoming freaky gang members. They would bring out the freakiness in them, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I never partaked in MDMA like that, so I couldn't tell you, but for some, like I said, like Mac Dre, the rapper, he went from thug life to a party and doing the Thiz dance and dancing around like a chicken with his head cut off. So, go figure. Um, Usually sold as tablets, capsules, powder, or crystals. Molly. Other characteristics: MDMA hydrochloride is relatively stable in dry, cool conditions. Degrades under high heat, moisture, or light. Okay, that's just a couple of information about that. And resources: www.addictioncenter.com/drugs, ecstasy, withdrawal, detox. www wellness retreat recovery.com / the long-term effects of MDMA. Another resource link: AmericanAddictionCenters.org / ecstasy abuse / mental and physical effects. Other resources: www.google.com. Search for short-term, long-term physical and mental effects. Last link that I used for my resources was www.acs.org, Molecule of the Week. Those are my resources. Anybody want to dig deeper into their own research on MDMA? So at the end of the presentation, that's the breakdown: name and substance, physical properties, drug composition, potential dependence, short-term mental, physical, long-term mental, physical, methods of use, which is taking it by oral, injected. Example of synergistic effects, withdrawal symptoms. Okay, so at the end of this, this is an anti-drug awareness presentation. So, anti-drug, obviously, people start off by using drugs to feel good, to feel happy, to escape from something. So, at the end of the day, the drug becomes a problem. In the beginning, it's a choice. Toward the end, it becomes a problem and a need to feel again. You're gonna burn out your serotonin and your melatonin in your brain. It becomes a cognitive problem. You come in a state of psychosis, cognitive distortion. You risk health factors: your kidneys, your liver. You risk organ failure. You risk the factor of your dental, your teeth, your grinding. You risk being that it's a stimulant like methamphetamine, because it consists of methamphetamine in it. You're gonna grind your teeth, so you risk those factors. Physical factors: you have the risk of a heart attack. So all these things play factors in MDMA as a whole. So for those interested or people that are curious about doing these things, just do your research prior to taking any substance, anything that is gonna change your chemical makeup of your brain or your physical appearance or the composition of your internal organs and things of your body. Because at the end of the day, you want to live healthy, you want to be free. Yeah, it's fun at first, but then it becomes a problem. You get the wrong batch, especially with fentanyl and a big problem in our society nowadays. You're gonna get a MDMA tab or an ecstasy thing that you think is pure MDMA, which pure MDMA, you can get it out there, but I'm sure it's not the same. But then you're gonna get one with fentanyl, then you're gonna be having a party and having fun, and then you're gonna croak. So, not cool. You want to make it home to your family. And it's kind of hard for me because I have a son that's into that scene now, into the raving scene, and obviously I pray for him, but he's not a bad kid, so I don't think he'll partake in things. If not, they do have kits, fentanyl kits out there. So it's my awareness: don't do drugs, and that's the cliches. They don't do drugs, which puts a person into the place of, well, I want to try what they're telling me, which was my problem as a kid. So at the end of the day, that's a little information in regard to MDMA. And thank you very much. My name is Raymond Diaz, again, Cohort 47. SUD 102 Week 2 assignment. Thank you.